Hello, this is one of those videos where I talk about devices that can be useful in everyday life. Today I'm going to talk about this power station, which is called S200, marketed by ALLPOWERS company. While demonstrating this device, I'll be also talking about the differences between power stations and the power backup devices. This time it's not something I bought myself. This company contacted me and asked me to test this device. I've been using this power station for a month, every day, charging and discharging it. This power station proved to be practical, but also has some pros and cons that we will talk about later. This model is called S200 because it can charge devices that can allow input up to 200 watts. You can charge devices using USB ports and a regular power outlet. And the other charging option, not to forget, is the wireless option. Not all cell phones or devices support this option, but this is an extra functionality that this power station offers. How do we know which device we can charge? Probably there won't be many questions about USB ports, but what about this power outlet? Usually on the adapters on the devices you can see some stickers. For example, here is an adapter for a laptop, and when you look at the specifications on this adapter here, you will see here 45 watts, and this is the power that this device uses. It is below 200 watts, so you can plug in this laptop into this power station. How do we charge this power station? You have several options. You have a regular adapter that comes with this power station, which charges this device really quickly. You have a screen here that will tell you how much watts it's taking in and it's giving out. For example, when I plug this adapter in, it starts charging, and it tells you here that it's getting 37 watts input now. And based on my experience, I should tell you that the adapter charges this power station pretty quickly. There's another option, which is a C-type USB port, and depending on what adapter you use, you will have different input. You can charge this power station using this input in a car or using different adapters from your cell phones, but the charging times will be, of course, longer. Or you can buy a special adapter for the wall outlet with higher output, and then you'll get faster charging times. Also, it's possible to charge this station with solar panels. Now let me demonstrate you how the input changes when you use a regular adapter. For example, here I have adapters with different outputs. One has up to 1 amperes output, and the other one has up to 3 amperes output, which means this adapter should provide faster charging times. And the amperes usually indicate the current. The higher is the current, the faster are the charging times. Here I have a cable that allows me to use it with different devices and different sockets. Here I have a C-type USB cable, and I will plug it into this power station, and I will plug it into the adapter with 1 ampere output, and we'll plug it into the wall outlet. Now we see that the input is much lower. It's only 5 watts, which means that the charging time will be slower. Let's try the other one, this adapter, which is 3 times faster. And we can see that the input is growing up to 15 watts and is exactly 3 times more than the previous one. But the highest charging rate is achieved using the original adapter. This power station can also be charged in a car. Depending on which adapter you have, you can have different input. Let me demonstrate that. It's interesting that I have here 2 adapters for a car outlet, and they have the same specifications, 2.4 amperes output, but probably they have different quality and in reality give out different power. Let's check this out. So this one is a cheap, low quality adapter. We'll try this one first. And we get 8 watts input. We plugged in the cable into the C-type input here. Now let's try the other one. This one is a high quality adapter with the same specifications. And now we see that the power input is growing. And it reaches 15 watts. So depending on the adapter, you'll get different inputs, and the time of charging this power station will change accordingly. So now let me show you how to charge devices. Charging USB devices is pretty easy, something we do every day. Plugging into the socket. I'm using sometimes this type of cables which can actually charge several devices at once. Once you plug into a device, on the screen you will see some information about output. For example, now this device is picking up to 1 watts, but it's actually 100% charged already. It will stop picking up any power now. Yes, and it did. Now let's see how we use this outlet here. I have a laptop whose battery is not working anymore, so I can't turn it on when it's not plugged in. If I go outside, if I go camping, I can use this power device to power my laptop. If I try to turn it on, it doesn't work. But now when I plug into a cable and plug its cable into this power outlet, I will be able to turn it on. In order to turn it on, you have to keep in mind that you have to activate this outlet because it requires more power. It needs to turn on a cooling system. There are buttons here which define which ports will be on. For example, here it says AC out and USB out. By pushing this button once, you will turn on or turn off the USB port. Let's see what happens. No light here, no green line means it's turned off. I push it once again and the green light is on, which means the USB part is active. But this outlet is not active. For example, if I try to push this button here, my laptop won't turn on. To activate the power outlet, you have to push this button here and keep it pressed until you see another light goes off. And you will hear a sound of a ventilator that starts working inside. Now you can see there's a green and red light. If you turn off the USB ports, you will see only a red light. But you can use all of them at the same time. Now let's try to turn on my laptop. And as you can see, the laptop is on. And you will also see on the screen that there is an AC output, which means alternative current. This power outlet provides alternative current because all wall power outlets also provide alternative current. The screen goes inactive. To activate it, you can just push this button once. Also, it turns on the USB ports when you push it once. And to turn off this device, you have to press the button and keep it pressed for a few seconds. Don't do it when you are plugging in a laptop without a battery because it will turn off and you may lose your data. But I will demonstrate it how it works. You just push the button, keep it pressed, and everything turns off. To turn it on, you just press it once and it turns on with USB ports active. you need to activate the power outlet again by pressing this button again. This laptop withdrew 10% of the power capacity of this power station in 1 hour. So this laptop could work for 10 hours with this power station. The capacity of this power station is 40,000 milliamperes per hour. Now comes the part where I would like to talk about the differences between this power station and the power backup units, known as UPS, uninterruptible power supply units. This power station actually may seem like a backup unit. Not all power stations allow to charge devices while the power station is being charged, because it doesn't let the power go through the batteries to the charging devices. But for this power station, it's not the case. If you plug into a device right now and the charge of the power station gets to 100, it will still be charging the device, but will not be charging the power station until it falls to 99%. So you may think that this power station can also be used as a power backup unit. But is it advised to do it? Power stations are meant to be charged and then discharged to a certain point. These power stations actually inside have a lot of lithium-ion batteries like this. If you try to use a power station as a backup unit, these batteries will be always charged once they discharge 1%, and the electronics in the power stations will be always engaged, which means a faster wear out. Also myself, I would not keep my batteries charged unattended, and in case of the power stations, they charge their batteries each time they detect the discharge. And this is where the difference between the power station and the power backup units comes into play. The power backup units in this sense are safer, because what they do is they have their batteries inside charged fully, and they are connected to the devices that they are protecting, and they provide the power directly from the wall power outlet. So the batteries inside of the power backup units are not being charged, they are just stored inside. And when the power backup unit detects that there's no power in the wall power outlet, then they activate the battery pack and switch to providing power to the devices. And when the power comes back to the wall power outlet, they turn off the power that comes from the batteries and start charging the batteries, and keep providing the power from the power outlet to the devices they are protecting. In the case with the power station, there's always power going through the batteries, and the batteries are charging. So in my opinion, it's not very good for the power station, and it's not very safe, because a lot of electronic components are always working. The power goes through the battery pack, which is always getting charge from the power outlet. All those electronic components are getting heated, and it's not very good for the device and for the life of the device. So in my opinion, the power stations should be charged, then disconnected from the wall power outlets, discharged up to 70 or 50%, whatever the needs are, and then charged again, and then disconnected again. So here comes the pros and cons of about this device. That this device would be much practical if it would be combining a power backup unit and a power station 2-in-1, so that you don't have to unplug it at home and plug it in all the time when the charge goes down. Outside, this device would be okay, because you would take it to a camping, to a tent where you don't have wall power outlets, and occasionally you would go to your car to charge it in your car and bring it back to your tent, let's say. A few things also to mention about this device is that it smells a little bit. There is some plastic smell, but it's not very strong. You could feel it only if you come very close to the device, but it can tell you something about the quality of the plastics. I think that could be something to improve. And with time, I started hearing some whistling sound when I would plug into a USB cable, and that would happen to me when I would use usually cheap adapters. And also I can feel some smell that's also is coming out from the device, which I also would feel when I would use cheap adapters. So maybe some electronic components need to be improved there. Anyways, when buying these types of product, you usually have to decide what capacity you need, what type of devices you're going to charge, and compare prices between different products. It all comes down to the relationship between the price and the quality. If you decide to look at this product in more detail, check out the video description. The company provided me with the discount code which you can use and the links to its website and the product.